Good evening, everyone. Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, good evening. Members of the public that have joined us in the chambers this evening, good evening. We have several, actually 2 presentations on the agenda and then several new business items this evening. So thank you for being here. Thanks for your interest in what your city government is up to. To begin the meeting this evening, I will offer a prayer and then we will honor our flags. Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessings that we enjoy in this wonderful community that you've called us all to live, work, and serve in. We ask your blessings and favor and protection for the people of Clovis and Cannon Air Force Base. We thank you for the community spirit that we enjoy here. And Lord, thank you for the things that we're celebrating this evening, as well as the new business items, which are indicative of the work and progress that we're making in this community. And Lord, we pray for your wise guidance as we take up the business this evening. I ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in honoring our country's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico,
the zealous symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
Our meeting is called to order. Would the clerk, Ms. Reyes, please call the roll?
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Bryant,
Here.
Commissioner Casals, here. Commissioner Porter, Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Here.
Commissioner Garza, here. Commissioner Rowley,
Here.
Commissioner Paula, here. Mayor Morris.
Here. Thank you, Ms. Reyes. Next, we have approval of the agenda, and I know that there is one item, just a moment, I'm looking. It is item 3 in new business that we will remove. Other than that, are there any objections to how the agenda has been published? Hearing and seeing no objections with that one removal of item 3 under new business, we will adopt the agenda. And please record a yes vote for each of the members, Ms. Reyes. Next, we have the minutes from the June 1st meeting before you for approval. You have those minutes. You've had the opportunity to review them. Are there any objections to the way they have been prepared? Hearing and seeing none, we will adopt the June 1st, 2023 meeting minutes. And please record a yes vote for each of the members. Again, we want to acknowledge and recognize all of you who have joined us in the chambers this evening. We know that many of you are here for the presentations. Others are here for action items. In any case, we're glad that you're here and we look forward to hearing from you. Proclamations, awards, and presentations. We have 2 planned presentations this evening. The first is presentation of Key to the City to 27th Special Operations Wing Command Chief Master Sergeant Christina Montgomery. And this is a bittersweet occasion, one that we are all too familiar with in Clovis because of our relationship and partnership with Air Force Special Operations Command and Cannon Air Force Base. And Chief Montgomery is a classic example of the incredibly high caliber individuals that we get to share our community with because of AFSOC and because of Cannon. And Chief Montgomery, you have been a joy and a blessing to us all as we've been able to share a short time with you. And in fact, I think it's been too short of a time, and I believe you've even mentioned maybe you think it is as well. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but I would like to ask if you'd have anything you'd like to share, and then we'll do a presentation for you. Yeah, please. Yes, please. Chief Montgomery, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Absolutely. My time here has been way too short. I was told I'd be here at least 2 years, and I'm leaving. I've only been here a year, like 15 days ago. What I do want to say for this community, the tight-knit community that this is, your care and involvement with our airmen at Cannon Air Force Base is something that I have not seen or felt in my entire career. The community writ large, everywhere I go, is just phenomenal, and the partnership and the linkages that we have together. And go back to the 12 months to being here. You know, when you're a command chief or a commander or anything like that, you spend 6 to 9 to potentially 12 months getting to know your wing, getting to know your airmen, getting out in the community doesn't happen often. So the year after that you're promised, the 2 years you're supposed to be here for, is where you start to spread your wings a little bit more and you know things a little bit better. I feel like I was cheated. And the example that you all have set that I know already with only in this 12 months, man, it's phenomenal. And I have high expectations now when I go to my next job at Keesler. With the local community. And I just want to say thank you. It's something to be treasured. And Mayor, with this key, I'm hoping that I can use this to come back and retire because
That's the idea.
I'm serious. I want this community here is just phenomenal, and that's my plan. So thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing that. And I knew you had mentioned when we talked once recently that it was cut short by quite a bit, but I didn't realize we were robbed of a year of fellowship with you, and that's just too bad. But you know, each time I've been around you, I've noticed one thing: you always talk about your care for the airmen, and I just think that's wonderful. I just wanted to make note of that. You're an awesome leader because you care about those that are in your charge, and that's a great example to us all. And again, it's indicative of just the amazing men and women such as yourself that we're privileged to get to know because of Cannon. So I congratulate you on your success in your career up to this point, and certainly wish you the very best in the next chapters. And I'm very excited to hear that you want to come back here when you're done with your Air Force career. So yeah, very, very excited about that. If there's anyone else that would like to make comments, Mayor Pro Tem or Commissioners, I'll make my way down.
Thank you, Chief, for your service. And it's always nice to see a female get to this rank.
Yes, ma'am.
So congratulations and good luck.
Thank you very much.
And I agree. Thank you for your service, first of all, but I wish you the best in your new assignment, and look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Chief, you say you are coming back, so there's the key for the door. So
Plan to use it.
don't lose it, and we'll be waiting for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Special people and for special occasions. And like Commissioner Garza mentioned, you have the key to the city now, and that means that you can come back as soon as you're ready. Yeah. Thank you. I again want to thank Chief and the contingent from Cannon that came out this evening, and I want to make sure that you understand that you're under no obligation to stay for the rest of the meeting, as I know that you have other places you need to be. And with that, we'll move on to the second presentation that we have planned this evening, and it is presentation of proclamation proclaiming June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth Freedom Day in the city of Clovis. And we're certainly looking forward to this celebration coming up this Sunday to receive the proclamation this evening and perhaps share with us some about the plans for the celebration this weekend. Pastor Delmas Gillis is here. And Pastor Gillis, if you'd like to come forward, please, sir. It's always good to see Pastor Gillis. He's a friend of mine, and we have sons that are the same age, and so we can commiserate anytime we get together about what that's like. And he usually has some great advice for me. But very excited about Juneteenth, Freedom Day in the city. Proud and excited to be offering the proclamation. But we'd love to hear anything you have to share with us and the public about the celebration on Sunday.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commission, all who are in attendance. We are grateful for the opportunity to share Juneteenth with the city of Clovis. We're thankful for what the commission has done for us in preparation for our celebration. We are thankful to be able to celebrate freedom with our community, as Juneteenth represents freedom, as those in Texas finally received the word that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed and systemic slavery in America had been ended. And so we celebrate that to remind ourselves that freedom is such an important part of our history, and it is an important part of who we are as a people, and that moving forward, that while we enjoy these freedoms, there is still so much work to be done. And so we want to once again thank you all for celebrating with us, and we invite you to come out Hillcrest Park, 10 a.m. on Sunday. We'll be there all day, so whenever you come out, just come out and celebrate with us and enjoy the celebration of freedom that has been afforded to all of us in this great nation.
Sounds great. Looking forward to the celebration, and I just want to point out that this is at Hillcrest this year versus
Yes.
Potter Park, where it has been in the past.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Looking forward to that. Mayor Pro Tem or Commissioners, any remarks that you may like to make? I'll pause and let you do that before I share the proclamation.
Just say thank you. This is always an exciting event, and you know, we're glad to take the Hillcrest this year.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant.
Thank you.
Very good. Proclamation. Whereas 2023 is the 158th year of Juneteenth Freedom Day, a nationally recognized day which celebrates the rich culture, legacy, and heritage of African Americans in the state of New Mexico. And whereas Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the abolition of slavery in the United States, dating back to June 19, 1865, when Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas, with the news that the war was ended, freeing the enslaved. And this was 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln's signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, which became official January 1st, 1863. And whereas in order that as a city, state, and nation, we may never forget the harsh treatment and injustices blacks experienced under slavery, and whereas today, Juneteenth celebrates African American freedom and achievement while encouraging continuous self-development and respect for all cultures, as it takes on a more national, symbolic, and even global perspective, and that the events of 1865 are not forgotten. And whereas there will be a Juneteenth celebration from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday, June 18th at Hillcrest Park, now therefore I, Mike Morris, Mayor of Clovis, and on behalf of the Commission, do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth Freedom Day in the city of Clovis. Okay, that does it for presentations this evening, so we'll move down in the agenda to receipts of petitions and communications. Is there anyone from the public wishing to share something with the commission this evening? I see one gentleman making his way forward. Good evening.
Evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, good to see you tonight. What I came forward for was, I know that,
Just a moment. It's Mr. Holstead.
yes, sir, it's Tommy Hosted, 2308 Bob White Court.
Great, thank you. Go right ahead.
The last meeting I made, I missed last meeting. I was planning on bringing this last time, but I didn't make it. I was busy and couldn't. But anyway, there is something that I've been noticing that takes place here over and over and over again. And I want to make you aware of it so maybe we can get a handle on it. But I brought a deal from the NHTSA.gov, National Highway and Traffic Safety. And every year, about 37 people in the United States die from drunk driving crashes. That's one person every 39 minutes. In 2021, 13,384 people died in alcohol-impaired traffic deaths, and 14% increase from 2020. These deaths are all preventable according to the NHTSA. And it's a government office that's taken this. This is not mine. It's not from a biblical backing, it's from a governmental backing. I noticed on our agenda again tonight, we're wanting to put alcohol in another restaurant. Every time somebody comes forward for alcohol or for marijuana, it's okay for everybody to vote for this to go in. But the truth is, when you look at the statistics on this, at .02, some loss of judgment, relaxation, slight body warmth, altered mood, decline in visual functions, rapid tracking of movement and targets, moving target, decline in ability to perform two tasks at the same time, divided attention. That's just .02. Now, I know you might think that these people that go into these restaurants don't go in there and drink, but we're serving alcohol in there. I take it they probably are. I've already told you, I've been at one of the parts houses here in town where I seen a young man get in a car and clearly light up his marijuana. That's the same. Buzz driving is the same as drunk driving. It's no different. It's the same thing. You might say, well, they go to the restaurant and they drink, but somebody else drives for them. Well, I went on a vacation this last summer, and on that vacation, one that went with us has an alcohol problem. Every time he stopped, he got him a drink. Every time we got back in the pickup, or every time he got back in the pickup, he was the one driving. Every time. And when we stop and look at the number of deaths that's taking place because of the decisions that's being made, and I realize y'all may need that money for something, but it's costing far too much. Now, I want to bring you another thing that happened on a little marijuana shop down here on North Street. One of their people passed one of our vans out on the highway, pulled over in front of him, slammed on his brakes, then jumped out and started cussing him out. Now, we've had to have a restraining order put against that marijuana shop right there next to us. If you bring things in here that are not good for the community, it's going to lead to a problem, and that's what it's leading to. Anyway, I wanted to make you aware of that. I don't know if you want this or not, but it's got the statistics. I'll leave it here with you.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Is there anyone else that has something that they would like to bring before the commission this evening? Okay. I wanted to, while we're in communications, talk briefly about two or three items, just to reiterate. First of all, reiterate a communication that the city manager's office put out related to business registration. With the hailstorms that happened in May, our community has been overrun by out-of-town contractors, as well as the mobile paintless dent repair operations that operate out of tents on corners and so forth. And as a result, I've heard from a lot of the members of the public, and I know that the commissioners probably have as well, concerned that, are these out-of-town business owners held to the same standards as, our existing businesses, our local businesses, and so forth. And the answer to that question is yes. And I just wanted to, notify any out-of-town businesses that are coming in to, provide repair services, but also to notify the public that if you're choosing a contractor, ask them if they are a registered business in the city of Clovis, because in order to have that business registration, they have to be otherwise in good standing with the state of New Mexico with licensing and and all of those things. And so it's just important that we understand that that out-of-town businesses cannot come into our community and then skirt rules and laws that exist in our city and state for operating. And so they are held accountable for that, but members of the public should be aware and ask those questions of those businesses that you're choosing to do business with. And I can't help myself but encourage members of the public to consider the benefits of doing business with local businesses. There's enough work out there that we probably need the help of out-of-town contractors and companies in order to complete all of those repairs. But what if most people in Clovis chose to have their roof replaced or their car fixed by local Clovis businesses? Just think about the impact that could have in our community, as there is hundreds of millions of dollars worth of damage that needs repairing. Let's at least give thought to using local businesses first. Secondly, and this is very different, but I wanted to bring this up because this is something that I hope that we're going to be talking about quite a bit in the near future, and it's something that is very much an idea at this point. However, recently I asked Mr. Howalt to organize a meeting with Denver Air Connect, and I just wanted to talk to them. We met online. I talked to them and thanked them for the wonderful air service that they're providing to our community, and then I asked them a number of questions about how it is that maybe we could help them grow and expand what they do at our airport, and while we're growing our airport. As you may know, we have approved designs and are pursuing the funding for a new airport terminal that would have 2 gates. Well, in addition to that, the conversation with Denver Air Connect went the way of, I wanted to know, would they bring some of their maintenance operations to Clovis if there were a facility here? And after some discussion, the answer to that question is yes. And I don't mean to get anyone's hopes up. I'm just planting the seed that we may be talking about this. And so I've asked Mr. Howalt to lean in, and we'll be asking the commission for approval at the appropriate time. But I want to pursue economic development dollars at the federal level and at the state level and construct an aviation maintenance facility out at our airport. And I think that would be an exciting thing to help us grow out there. That would create some jobs, and there's a potential partnership with Clovis Community College and/or Eastern New Mexico University, who could have an aviation maintenance program. This is something that, as I've talked with the high school principal about his plans to really bring the trades down into the high school in robust ways, wouldn't it be exciting if aviation maintenance was a real option for kids growing up in Clovis? And so that's something that's at the very beginning stages, and it's not been my habit since I've been in office to talk about things, too early, but this one's just exciting, and I wanted to plant that seed and let you know that this is one of the things that we're working on here at the city. Lastly, I wanted to, while we're in communications, talk about healthcare access. We just recognized Chief Montgomery with the key to the city as we said goodbye to her as she moves on in her career with the Air Force. Just imagine we give the key to the city to a member of the Air Force. But that's because that's how much they mean to us, right? We are better, we are more rich, more diverse, just a stronger community because of Cannon Air Force Base, and because we get to share our community with these amazing men and women, some of the very best that our country has to offer, and they come through Cannon Air Force Base. And so our support of Cannon Air Force Base is just vital. And we could talk about the importance of Cannon Air Force Base in terms of dollars and economic impact, and that alone makes the case for why we should support Cannon Air Force Base, because it's upwards of $700 million annual impact on the local economy. But it goes past that. It's those relationships that we have. It's our friends and neighbors that are real life American heroes currently serving and doing the business of keeping us free, and they deserve our support. And so when we talk about how do we support them, well, installation resiliency, that's a fancy phrase for saying, let's protect that asset that is Cannon Air Force Base in terms of water and energy and things like that. That's why we build the Ute Pipeline, or that's why they're an important part of the Ute pipeline. That's why we do water conservation. That's in our consent agenda tonight. But we do water conservation in order to insulate Cannon Air Force Base and bolster its resiliency. As the Department of Defense and AFSOC looks at Cannon, we want them to think water's good, energy's good, space is good. You know, we want to check all the boxes. So there's that, but then there's how do we support the airmen in areas of quality of life? Quality of life such as healthcare access, okay, safe and affordable housing, education, and so on. Top of the list concern for me as mayor and for many others in the fight and doing the work right now is healthcare access. New Mexicans, Clovis people deserve better healthcare access than what's available in our community right now. Cannon Air Force Base families deserve better healthcare access than what's available in our community right now. So we must do something about it. So we're doing that. We're doing several things to lean into that. First of all, we look to Presbyterian. Obviously, Presbyterian healthcare system, they're our hospital here. So it's natural that we look to them and ask them for help. And so we're doing that. And I think they're feeling the pressure that we all feel to perform and increase and embolden healthcare access. We're also doing our best to provide input to the governor's office as the governor makes plans for healthcare reform in the next legislative session. We are looking locally at what it is that we could do with economic development dollars to support some sort of medical practice. For example, the next women's medical. That was a big hit to this community, and Presbyterian has done, Presbyterian has continued to provide OB services, but it's nothing like what it was when women's medical was here, right? And so if we could get the next women's medical clinic to come to Clovis, I would ask you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, to approve the use of economic development dollars to help that happen. It's a full court press, and all options are on the table at this point. And I just wanted to communicate out to the public, this is not something that your leaders are asleep at the wheel on. We are leaning hard on Presbyterian to perform. They're a company that makes business decisions based on data that I don't have, nor would I understand, and I can respect their need to make decisions, but I think we need them to get creative and maybe do things they haven't done before and leverage the resources they have in their Albuquerque hospital system out here in order to help fill the gaps. However it happens, and I'm cheering for Prez to do it, but I am going to ask the county, and I've already asked the county commissioners and a few others to enter into a discussion to explore in good faith a special hospital district. I'm not saying that that's what we need to do, and that's where we're going, but we owe it to the people of Clovis and to the people of Cannon Air Force Base to explore every option that exists. And so we're going to do that. We're going to look in good faith in what setting up a special hospital district would look like. We're also going to assess the interest of other healthcare systems that are out there that may be interested in coming to Clovis and providing healthcare services and filling the gaps. And so we're not going to just sit and wait and hope that it gets better. We're going to find where the levers are that we may have some control over, and we're going to do what we can, and we're doing that right now to improve healthcare access going forward for Clovisites and for Cannon Air Force Base. Anything else while we were in receipts of petitions and communications? I'll make the offer once more to anyone in attendance that may have something they would like to bring, or Mayor Pro Tem or Commissioners, is there any of you that have something to share? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on then to the consent agenda. As you know, we have the consent agenda so that you can deal with several routine items all at once. Your consent agenda is small this evening as compared to what it can look like. You have 5 items there, so it's really just items 2, 3, and 4, which I will read. Item 2, request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3197-2023, DFA budget changes. Item 3, request for approval of contract renewal with Capital Consultants LLC for fiscal year 2023-2024. Item 4, request for approval of year 3 of 3 contract for services with Central Curry Soil and Water Conservation District. That's your consent agenda. Unless there are questions or objections to those items, I would entertain a motion to place the indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Casals. Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, please vote.
Mayor, you're going to have to take my vote. It's a yes.
Okay. Okay, so with Commissioner Paula's yes, we do have a unanimous vote. The motion was carried. Next, I would entertain a motion to approve or acknowledge all items on the consent agenda.
So move.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Garza, second from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Please vote. Is your voting system working?
No,
No?
it's a yes for me.
Okay, Ms. Reyes, would you mind calling the roll for this vote, please?
Commissioner Bryant?
Yes.
Commissioner Casals? Mayor Pro Tem Bryant?
Yes.
Commissioner Garza?
Yes.
Commissioner Rowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Paula?
Yes.
Okay, the vote's unanimous, the motion is carried. Thanks for the help there, Ms. Reyes. We'll move on to introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances, where we have 2 items this evening. The first is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3190-2023 and agreement of City of Clovis approving participation in the programs of Eastern Plains Council of Governments for fiscal year 2023-2024 and appointing designated representative and alternative. And from Eastern Plains Council of Governments this evening, we have Ms. Chansey, and we are looking forward to hearing from you. I'll give you the floor to share with us what you will about EPCOG.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. It's time for our EPCOG annual report. For those of you that aren't familiar with the region that we serve, we are a planning and development district designated by the state of New Mexico. We are Planning and Development District 4. We serve the 7 counties that you see highlighted there. To make it short, we go from the northern border of Union County to the southern border of Roosevelt and the western border of Guadalupe. So that's about 189,000 square miles. We serve those 7 counties and the 24 municipalities within those 7 counties. Next slide, please. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. We did receive some capital outlay funding for office security, $25,000. Representative Chatfield put that in for us, and we have installed a security system and exterior security lighting, and we're working with a contractor to see what we might be able to do otherwise to further secure our building. We'll also be receiving $100,000 in capital outlay money in this upcoming fiscal year for building improvements. That building was last remodeled, I believe, probably in '99 or 2000, and it's time to fix some things. So thank you, Senator Pat Woods, for helping us with that. Ben Salazar, the field rep from Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez's office, is officing with us now. He has moved in and he is seeing constituents in our office. We enjoy having him there. It was a very busy 60-day legislative session for us. It seemed we were constantly running back and forth to Santa Fe for this event or that event, or committee meetings or what have you. So I'll give you a report on how successful we were in a few minutes. We did also receive $70,000 in capacity building grant funds, and we contracted with a grant writer, Tierra Grande Consulting Services. That grant ends on the 30th. We didn't even get our grant documents until January, so we probably will not spend all of that. But I have applied for an additional $100,000 from this year's funding cycle. And if we're approved, I'm going to use that funding to pay for an on-staff grant writer. And the portion of that will pay for contract grant writing services again. We've added a program in partnership with United Way. We have applied for and received $2 million from the Federal Human Resources and Services Administration, HRSA, to provide counseling services in jails and schools in Curry, Roosevelt, Quay, and DeBaca counties. We are the fiscal and administrative entity for this program, and Ms. Celia Kirkland is our program manager for that program. Next slide, please. Economic development has been a little busy. We have never, at least since the time that I've been at the COG, had a certified economic developer on staff. Our Deputy Director, Vincent Soul, has completed all of the requirements and has now been certified by the International Economic Development Council. So we have a certified economic developer. Most of our more rural counties have never had a certified economic developer. So, you know, we will help them in that way too. And he is currently enrolled in an advanced economic development leadership class. Raymond, Vincent, and I attended the Southwest Regional Economic Development Conference. The Southwest Regional Economic Development Association is made up of the 5 states in the Austin region for EDA. And I have just completed my 2-year term as chair of that organization. Somebody else gets to do all the work for the next conference. So next slide, please. Oh, Raymond was reappointed to the New Mexico Military Place Planning Commission by the governor. He was appointed, but they did not get to his confirmation this last session, so she reappointed him in March before the session ended, and he will be up for confirmation in 2024. And he'll serve until that time. We also are involved with the New Mexico Industrial Development Executives Association. Raymond is the past president of that organization. That is kind of our state's recruiting arm for industry. And we stay involved with them. We're working with several communities on economic development projects and issues, trying to get them ready to do economic development. And we'll be assisting the city in application to EDA for improvements at the airport. We've had some initial meetings with our economic development representative, Tricia Corbus, on that, and she's just waiting for us to get her the paperwork. So, as I said, this legislative session was busy for us. We filed $34,121,773 worth of capital outlay requests for our members in the 7-county region. Our region was approved for $14,082,218.68. I don't know where the 68 cents comes in, but we also met with the Legislative Council Service and legislators to reauthorize some funds for grants that were going to be expiring for the Food Bank, Main Street, and the City of Texaco. We organized and coordinated with the New Mexico Finance Authority. Many of you attended their roadshow meeting that was held here in Clovis. We held 4 of those throughout the region so that they could present their programs and talk to folks about projects that they could fund. They have some new funding programs, so that was very well received. And we're administering CDBG grants for Curry County, Fort Sumner, Vaughn, and Santa Rosa. And we are currently in a new CDBG application cycle, so we'll see what comes of that. Of course, we've attended numerous city and county meetings throughout the region, worked with staff on projects and programs, and offer our assistance wherever we can help. And of course, we all sit on numerous boards and committees within the city, the state. I serve on the New Mexico Association of Regional Councils. We serve on transportation organizations. It's too many to list and get through this presentation quickly. And of course, we assist our communities with various policy and technical issues, as well as grant writing, follow-up activities, things of that nature. We assisted several of our communities with applications for the new outdoor recreation grant program that rolled out this year. The Village of Logan was very successful in their application. They got $4.9 million to develop a recreation complex there in Logan, and we will be assisting them with that. We'll also be completing a comprehensive plan for the Village of Logan. If they had ever had one, no one can find it. So we're starting over there. We fill up your inboxes with grant advisory information. We get from the congressional staff, state agencies. We get a few foundations that send us their notices regularly, and we send those out as soon as we get them. And we continue to facilitate the monthly Northeast Regional Transportation Planning Organization meetings and the quarterly Southeast Regional Transportation Planning Organizations, and provide technical assistance to our communities with DOT funding opportunities. "31 applications for the Transportation Project Fund ran through our office from our entities, and that totaled $35,185,534.50 worth of transportation infrastructure improvements requests. Our newest program is the HRSA program, our mental health grant. And Celia's been working with PRMC to hire a discharge coordinator that could coordinate counseling for those that need it. We've hired 2 counselors for REC 6 to work in the schools. E&MU internships are open for application for fall of 2023. Should be fall of 24. Scheduling and building curriculum for teacher and counselor continuing education trainings. Celia has attended several job fairs and community events to promote social work and counseling. We have placed a master's in counseling intern at Quay County Detention Center. They have never had behavioral health support in their detention center before. So hopefully this will make a difference. Contracted with Be Well Counseling for teacher and counseling training. We paid for 3 providers in Curry County to go through play therapy, which they use in counseling children. And they hosted a 3rd meeting for the Disparities in Social Work group, hopefully to inspire more interest in going into that field. Here's a few pictures of our activities. Next slide, please. Here's how you can get a hold of us. I'd just like to note that this will be the last time you see Mary Gray's name on this report. Mary is retiring at the end of the month. We have hired a new office manager, so hopefully you will all come by and meet Alana and get her going. And that is the end of I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Ms. Chansey. Appreciate the update. EPCOG is certainly a busy organization, and you said we are one of how many municipalities that you serve?
24.
Okay,
And then 7 county governments.
24 and 7 counties.
And we
Yep.
do have 2 special districts that are members.
Okay, thank you
Our
for
Shirley
that.
Conservancy District and the Fort Sumner Irrigation District.
I see. Thanks for the report, and we may well have some questions. I'm
Okay.
not sure. Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, the ask before you is adoption of a resolution approving the participation with EPCOG in the coming year. What questions do you have, concerns, debate?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, Mr. Holwald and I met with Ms. Chansey, and the second page of the resolution contains the various items that we were looking for the COG to help us with this next year. CDBG grant will be finished with the construction of the senior centre at Hillcrest Park, and so we're looking to the COG to help us with another CDBG application in the next fiscal year.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Ms. Burrows. I think that's, I think that was an important point for you to highlight for this commission, that EPCOG is working with you and taking your direction on what it is that we're looking for exactly in the way of service. So thanks for that. Questions, comments?
Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Casals.
I serve in the board, and I would like to continue serving. And if approved, I also make a motion to approve.
Okay. Thank you for that, Commissioner Casals, and for keeping me straight. We're also talking about appointing a representative as well as an alternative. Who is the current alternative?
I believe Commissioner Bryant is the alternate.
Commissioner Bryant.
Yes.
Okay. So I suppose, understanding that the current representative is willing to continue to serve, we could ask Commissioner Bryant, are you willing to continue serving as the alternate? Okay.
So is that a second?
Okay, so we have a second here. Okay, so it's been moved by Commissioner Casals that you would approve Resolution 3190-2023, which of course is the participation in EPCOG in the coming fiscal year. That comes with the representative being Commissioner Casals and the alternate being Commissioner David Bryant, and David Bryant gave us the second on that. Any further discussion or debate?
I just have a question for legal. Is it right for them to appoint themselves?
Well, if you let them, yes. If there's not any further discussion or debate, please vote.
Yes.
Okay, so you're having to give a voice vote. Oh, I see. You don't even have an iPad. Okay, very good. Yeah, so that is 6 in favor, none opposed. The vote is unanimous. The motion is carried. Ms. Chansey, thank you so much for being here, for what you do for the city, and for the presentation this evening.
Thank you very much for your support of EPCOG.
Thank you.
We're going to continue to grow and provide more services.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Next item in this section of the agenda is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3198-2023, designation of polling locations for the March 2024 election. That's right around the corner, isn't it, Ms. Melanson? So,
Okay, thank you. And also the voters per area for the last 5 cycles. And happy to answer any questions.
thank you for that, Ms. Melanson. Commissioners, I guess a question for you would be, any reason why you would be opposed to using the same polling locations that have seemed to have worked in recent past?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a problem with this. The question would be, did we get any complaints or anything from other residents around those areas that wasn't properly located?
I
on
have
other
not
areas?
received any complaints. These will vary somewhat from what the county commission has chosen for places within the city. We will continue to use our marketing director to notify any of the differences, but there were some that the county commission changed for their last cycle, so we do have some differences.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion for approval from Commissioner Garza. Second came from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, it's been properly moved and seconded that you would approve adoption of resolution number 3198-2023, designation of polling locations for the March 2024 election. Please vote. Commissioner Paula?
Yes.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote and the motion is carried. Thank you. Thanks for that, Ms. Melanson. We will move on to new business where we have 5 items. If you remember, we removed item 3 prior to approving the agenda. The first is request for approval of Splash Park and Zoo waiver of fees for the Juneteenth celebration at Hillcrest Park. Ms. Burrows?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. During the 2018 Revenue Review Committee recommendation process, the Clover City Commission approved that certain activities in the community would be allowed the use of city facilities without a fee. Juneteenth was one of those events, and the approval at the time, however, was for the use of Potter Pool for their event. And this year, as you know, as mentioned by Pastor Gillis earlier on, they're moving to Hillcrest this year, and they're asking for the waiver of the zoo and for the splash park. So we're just here to ask for your permission for a waiver or to get your input regarding that. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, as Ms. Burrows just advised, the Revenue Review Committee previously recommended against waiving fees for events such as this. What are your thoughts?
When it was held at Potter Park, we always waived the fees for the pool, correct?
And that's correct, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, yeah, you recommended it because it was for Juneteenth, and as a federal activity, it was waived, and the reason why we're coming to you is because they're just changing location, but we didn't want to assume that we could just, we don't have the authority to waive fees for the zoo and the splash park, so that's why we're here tonight.
Okay. Commissioner Casals, you had a comment?
That was the question I was going to ask,
That was the question? Okay.
and I
All right.
move for approval.
Okay. Motion for approval of the waiver of fees for the Juneteenth celebration.
Second.
Actually, the Splash Park and Zoo fees from Commissioner Casals. The second frame came from Commissioner Garza. Any further discussion or debate on this issue? Commissioners, please vote.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's 6 in favor, a unanimous vote, and the motion has carried. Thank you. Item 2 is request for approval of Restaurant B liquor license for WMR LLC to be located at 2417 North Prince Street. City Attorney, Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. So local entrepreneur Robert Rocky Bernard has opened Dickey's Barbecue Pit at 2714 North Prince Street here in Clovis. He has applied for a Restaurant B liquor license through the LLC that owns the building, which is WMR LLC. And on May 5th, he was granted preliminary approval for a Restaurant B license. Again, that's wine, beer, and spirits. In order to get approval, he has to have a public hearing before the local option district, which is the City Commission, within 45 days. Today's hearing meets that requirement. Also, notice of today's or tonight's hearing was published twice in the Eastern New Mexico News, once on May 21st and once on May 28th. So with that said, Mayor, we are ready for a public hearing on the issuance of the liquor license.
Sounds great. Can I have a motion to enter the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to enter the public hearing from Commissioner Paula, second from Commissioner Garza. We need a vote on that. Please vote. Commissioner Paula?
Yes.
Okay, 6 in favor, none opposed to enter the public hearing. We're now in the public hearing. If there's anyone that wishes to give testimony related to this applicant and this address, how do we phrase all of that, Mr. Morris?
Sure. So the commission essentially must approve any license that comes before it. However, the commission has the authority and the ability to deny a license if the specific applicant or the specific location presents a danger to public health, safety, or welfare. I should mention the location is not within 300 feet of a church or school, so it didn't require a distance waiver. And Mr. Bernard is also present here this evening.
Yeah, great. Okay, so if there was anyone wishing to give testimony related to this applicant or that location, we would give you the opportunity to do that. You'd need to be sworn in, and we'll pause for anyone that wishes to do that. Okay, I'll take a motion to exit the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to exit the public hearing from Commissioner Garza, second from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Please vote.
Yes.
You could give us some suspense on that. You're like, we're not sure what she's gonna do. No, that's 6 in favor to exit the public hearing. So we're back to the item in front of you, and that being the approval of the Restaurant B liquor license for WMR LLC.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion for approval from Commissioner Casal, second from Commissioner Garza. Any further discussion or debate? Hearing and seeing none, please vote. Commissioner Paula, your vote, please.
Yes.
Okay, that's a unanimous vote, and the motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we will move to the third item under new business, and it is request for approval of annual professional services contract between the City of Clovis and Clovis Main Street. Mr. Howalter,
We got another one, sir.
That was the agenda item that was removed.
Oh, yeah, yes, okay. Sorry.
Mr. Howalter, you going to introduce this?
Absolutely, sort of.
Okay, Mr. Howalter.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. If you haven't been able to notice, it's obviously that time of year where we're renewing all of our annual contracts that we have with the various organizations. One of those organizations, of course, is Clovis Main Street, and if you haven't been down Main Street at least lately, you're really missing out on all the wonderful things that are happening down there. And that is made due partly, private investment as well as the wonderful Main Street organization that we have in place that are out meeting with the businesses, out promoting the district itself, out trying to obtain capital outlay funding to make improvements down there. And so we started to look at and reviewed the contract with Lisa as well as the board, and looked at the terms and conditions of that contract, and they've been meeting those obviously over this past fiscal year, and are doing a wonderful job. In conversations that we've had with them, they wanted to expand the work that they're doing down there. If you notice, their focus has really been on kind of that historic district, so it's from 7th Street going south. Well, that Main Street doesn't stop there, and the district itself doesn't stop there. They want to expand, obviously, and go further north along Main Street, expand east and west onto Pyle and to Mitchell Street, because that 7th Street, or the historic area, has really kind of acted as a catalyst for what is going on down there. And in order to expand, you're going to need more resources and to do that. And so what I have proposed this year for their contract, typically last year we've paid the minimum amount that's required to go to the Main Street District as the City of Clovis is required to do. And so I proposed to increase that from $40,000 to $50,000 this year for their contract. The funding would come out of Fund 77, our lodger's tax non-promotional funding. We had previously put $10,000 to go towards a plaque program that we just haven't been really to get up and running yet, but it's still on the horizon, something we want to do, but would like to see those funds go towards the contract itself so Main Street can continue to do wonderful things that they've been doing. We obviously have Lisa here this evening as well as members of the board, and they may want to provide some comments as well. So I'm happy to allow them to, or answer any questions that you may have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Mr. Howalt. Yes, I see the director of Clovis Main Street as well as the board president and a couple other board members from Clovis Main Street here this evening. It's great to see you lovely folks here tonight, and excited to have your contract in front of the commission. We're all very proud I'm very excited about the amazing work you're doing, and just love what's happened with our downtown area. I've actually shared this with the board president when I was chatting with him, Mr. Tinkersley, earlier today, as a matter of fact, but I'll share with you. I was very proud when I was presenting the bid package for the New Mexico Municipal League Annual Conference. As you know, you approved bidding on that, and I've already shared the news with you that we got the annual conference for the league in 2024 here in Clovis. And, you know, Main Street will be a big part of that because these folks visiting our city are going to want to, you know, check out Main Street and enjoy themselves down there. But I was sharing with Mr. Tinkersley that as I was doing that presentation that Megan Darrow had put together, and I sort of just went off script as I was looking at the folks that were going to make the decision. I was looking at the mayor of Rio Rancho, the mayor of Ruidoso, and a councilwoman from Las Cruces, and these folks, and I just stopped and said, "When was the last time you've been to Clovis?" And they're kind of like, you know, and I said, "Have you been to Clovis in the last 3 years?" And they said no, and I said, "Then you've got to come because you wouldn't recognize a lot of our city, namely our downtown district, where, you know, 3 years ago at 4:55 p.m. there wasn't much going on downtown, right? But now there's 4 places to go eat. There's live music, there's entertainment, there's, you know, just vibrant business climate and private investment in old properties, and it's just amazing. And behind all of that is this board and this director of Clovis Main Street keeping people focused and, hey, have you thought about doing this? And you know, talking to a developer that, hey, come look at this building have you seen this building? And I know that Lisa does those things because I've seen it and felt it. But, you know, that tenacity has manifested itself in, you know, fruit. I mean, it's amazing what's happening downtown. So we're just, you know, so proud of what's happening, and I think that the small increase in the contract is appropriate, and you know, almost wonder if it's enough, you know, with what you might be able to accomplish, you know, with a little bit more. And I know that maybe there's some larger tax opportunities that exist for different things. But with that, Mr. Tankersley, President of Clovis Main Street, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not to mention there's fine shopping at Tankersley's downtown.
Yeah, boy, I would be remiss. Sorry, I should have.
Thank you very much.
Can we charge him for that plug?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for your support, not only this year, but in years past. And while we have been operating on the minimum, we're looking to move to the maximum as soon as we can, because great things are happening in our downtown. Some of you might remember, certainly Commissioner Bryant and some others, in the late 70s, Santa Fe Railroad gave up their contract on the hotel, and that went vacant. In the early 80s, the mall moved in, and there was an exodus out of downtown. And we have been battling that ever since. Not to say that that shouldn't happen, that the mall, I'm all for them, all for that. But we've worked very, very hard and have had a lot of years where things just didn't happen at all downtown. Things are happening now, as you've already expressed, and things wonderful. And so one of the things that we would like for you to consider for the future, thanking you for the increase for this year, is that all of this time we've been working with one employee. And so someone asked me recently about my vision for downtown. Here it is. It deserves to be more than Main Street 1st to 7th. It deserves to be Main Street 1st to 14th, Main, Mitchell, and Pyle. And there's a lot of work to do in that area. We have things that need to be condemned, we have things that need to be built, and we have businesses to recruit. And so one person and 7 volunteers who have full-time jobs just cannot do all of that. So we need your help. We're here to ask for that. We're here to thank you for your help. And we have great visions for downtown. Lisa, would you like to express one of those for us?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, city officials, and I know Justin's really super excited to get to work with me even more. So I'm working on communicating and responding to him every day, so he's gonna hear from me a lot. But we're really excited. We have a lot going on downtown, as you said, and the whole purpose is to strike while the iron's hot, right? We've got a lot of momentum right now, and we want to keep that going. So we appreciate Justin and your support with helping us do that a little bit more aggressively. And all of that makes a difference. And one of the programs, we've got a couple programs we really want to work for in the future. You had asked me the other night, what would you do if you had just a little bit more? One of our big pushes that we really want to do is work on I can't say it out loud, but our KCLO, which is our entrepreneurial program, and I don't want to say the words of what it is on here, but our entrepreneur program is one of the programs we really want to work on. It's one of the projects that you guys have identified in your recent economic development program or project that we want to continue to advance in Clovis. Most of you sitting up here are entrepreneurs, and that's a big part of what rural economy is. 90% of Clovis economy is entrepreneurial based, and any additional support that we can give to those, that's what we need to be working on, and that's one of the projects we really want to push. You know, I'm spread pretty thin, but I'm passionate about that, and I think our entrepreneurs, starting with our kids, as you guys know, we had our children's entrepreneur fair 2 weeks ago, and had 30 kids out there, 32 children that were out there selling their goods, and it was phenomenal. But those are things, if we can start instilling that, and the people here from a younger age, people want to come back. They want to root themselves in their community. They get passionate about it, and they want to invest in it. And that's what we need to do, is continue to encourage that investment in our local community. We've got great bones downtown. So even if it was 10 years ago and you couldn't see everything that was happening, there's a lot happening behind the scenes, and we have great bones. And that's what we need to continue to build on. And we're really excited to continue to do so for you guys.
Thanks for that.
So thank you very much for your time and for your consideration and for your support, for your help. I know you, along with us, we're all in it together. We're trying to make this the best community that we can possibly make it. We're working very hard to do that. I know you are. So thank you for your support.
Well, thank you. Thanks for what you do. Would your board member, Mr. Moore, like to? Nope. Okay. All right. They did a good job. Yeah, very good. Where would you like to go with this, commission? What questions, comments, debate? Pull weeds?
Yes. But I know they work hard. The board is hardworking, and I wish we could give them more, because she does need an assistant. She needs somebody. So that's something for the future, you know, see what happens. But bring it back. You never know.
Thank you.
You know, I have to say, I love all your visions as to your excitement for downtown Clovis. It's just so exciting to see what's going on down there. And so I definitely agree with Commissioner Casals, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Motion for approval from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, second from Commissioner Garza. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, it's been moved and seconded that you would approve the contract with Clovis Main Street. Please vote.
Yes.
That was quick.
Commissioner Garza, have you voted?
I don't have that option, so.
Oh.
That's a yes.
Do,
Commissioner Casals
is Kamal, Casals, we still need your vote. No? How about this? Commissioner Paula, what is your vote, please?
Yes.
Commissioner Rowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Casals?
Yes.
Commissioner Garza?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Commissioner? Yes. Okay, it's unanimous. The motion is carried. I was confused. We just wanted to make really sure that I didn't need to break a tie or something. So the motion is carried. Thank you, Clovis Main Street. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin, for all of your help and support with us. So thank you, Claire. Appreciate you guys.
Next, exciting item, I think, for our Clovis Police Department. It is a request for approval of law enforcement recruitment retention fund plan. And to advise on this, Ms. Melanson.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. I did the calculations, but I'm going to defer to Mr. Howalt for the presentation.
Fair enough. Mr. Howalt.
Good evening again, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. As you're aware, the city of Clovis went after funding through the state of New Mexico that the state legislature had made available for officer recruitment and retention. This first year, the city of Clovis actually received a little over $800,000 to go towards recruitment and retention efforts. We had previously put in front of you a package to distribute those funds through either offering sign-on stipends for newly recruited officers, using it towards salaries of newly recruited officers, utilizing it for retention for officers that had been in place for certain years of service, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years of service, and then tried to fill the gap for the officers that fell in between to make sure that everybody had benefited from the program that we had sought and gone after. The years, or the funding itself, is not able to be carried over from one fiscal year to the next fiscal year. So where we are currently is around $300,000 remaining of unspent funds left available to us. In discussions and conversations that we've had with the state of New Mexico, they want us to utilize those funds. We went after those dollars to give back, to put into and invest into our police department and to invest into those employees. And so what we have done is, and Ms. Melanson was tasked to do, was figure out what percentage of the base salary could each employee receive as an additional one-time stipend to exhaust all of the funding this fiscal year that we had remaining. That total amount came out to about 11.9% of base salaries going towards them. One thing that we did feel important, obviously in addition to getting those available funds to the officers, was to make or have them agree to continue to stay with the city of Clovis for an additional year of service. So that would be a requirement to accept the fundings that made to them. This upcoming fiscal year, we will receive half of the allocation that we received this year, so it'll be about $400,000 for us to put a plan together. So that's our next step, is to start looking at this next fiscal year and how we can get those out from a recruitment and retention efforts. So I know that it's important. I know that we want to have our officers stay with us. We want to be able to recruit officers, and so I think this is a small step in towards reaching those goals. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. There may be some questions, and you know, Mr. Howalt said it. The city went after these funds, and the chief has stood up. Chief, I'd love it if you'd like to share. Please make your way up. As Chief makes his way up, I wanted to reiterate what he said, is that, you know, it was House Bill 68 in session before last where, you know, the state, you know, appropriated funds for local law enforcement recruitment and retention, and then, you know, the city of Clovis doing what the city of Clovis did. I mean, there was an opportunity there. We went and got it, and proud to do that, proud to get that and bring that money back to help Clovis Police Department, and it makes a real difference in that it's passed right to the officers and the members of CPD. So that's a very exciting thing to have happen. And I guess I just have a question before I turn it over to the chief. Maybe everyone else understands, and I just don't. But it was 1.44 some odd $1 million that we received or were successful in receiving. So this additional 308 is just more of that 1.4 that must be used sooner than later, or was there more money that came in from the state?
And thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. So this first allocation was $825,000 for this fiscal year. We've been able to spend $500,000 out of that $800,000. The state of New Mexico, rightfully so, doesn't want the remaining funds back, and so we found a way to get those dollars in hands.
Understood. So our first plan at spending the first 825 just didn't spend all of those funds.
Correct.
Soon enough, essentially. We found out later that we needed to get it spent in this fiscal year.
Well, no, we knew we needed to spend it in this fiscal year. It just didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
So
very good. All right. Be that as it may, we have before the commission this evening the opportunity to put some more money into the Clovis Police Department. Chief.
Mr. Howell, thank you. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you very much for letting me come to you. This is very humbling for us. I've been in law enforcement over 40-plus years, and we've never seen a city or state or anybody fight so hard to give these officers a chance to stay and recognize them for the service that they perform. Of course, I'm talking about the state, but I'm also talking about our own administration staff. Mr. Howalt, Claire, Leanne has worked considerably hours. My DC has spent some time emailing back and forth, phone calls, to try to make this thing work and make it work out. The officers are excited about it, and I'm excited for them, because I mean, this is something that, like I said, it's never been done. It's unprecedented to pay officers to stay and have benefit. So thank you all for even considering it, and thank you very much for your hard work.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks for all you do. And
Thanks.
everyone within the department. DC, did you have anything? Okay. All right. Very good.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
What questions or debate is there on this item?
Second.
Okay. Motion for approval from Commissioner Casals, and it was a race by several of them to give the second. Who gave the second? Commissioner Garza. All right. I don't think there's any more discussion or debate on this. Let's vote.
Yes.
Okay, there's all the votes now. 6-0, unanimous vote, and the motion is carried. Chief, Deputy Chief, thank you very much. And Mr. Howalt, thank you for the explanation. Ms. Melanson, thank you for all the effort that you put into that as well. That has us at, let's see, the last item under new business this evening, and it is request for approval to appoint 2 City of Clovis representatives to serve on the Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Authority Board. This is, when it says City of Clovis representatives, it would be 2 representatives from this commission. Ms. Burrows, your name is beside that. Did you want to advise? Okay, I'll advise. So the Water Authority is made up of the municipalities or the municipalities of Clovis, which includes Cannon Air Force Base, Portales, Texaco, and Elida. Clovis is by far the largest member, some 76th percentile member of the Water Authority, and as such, we have 3 seats on that board. And those seats are occupied by myself, Commissioner Garza, who is a board member, and Mayor Pro Tem Bryant is secretary on the Water Authority Board. Commissioner Garza and I are up for reappointment to the Water Authority Board. We're not considering reappointment of the Mayor Pro Tem to that board tonight. It's our 2 seats. And since I've got the floor and I'm blabbing along, I want to ask for your support to be reappointed there. I'm the chairman of the Water Authority Board. I enjoy very much the work that we're doing there, very passionate about that project and the rapid success and progress that we're having with that project, and can't imagine not being involved with it at this point. So I would like to humbly ask that you would reappoint me there. Commissioner Garza, would you like to make a similar request?
I have enjoyed doing this for several years already. Can't remember how long. But it's up to my fellow commissioners if they think that I'm doing a good job and they want me to continue, then by all means, I let them decide.
Very good. Well, we'll open it up for debate then. What discussion is there?
Mayor, I don't think there's any discussion. I would like to make a motion to reappoint you, Mayor Morris, and Commissioner Garza to represent the city.
Thank you for that motion to reappoint myself and Commissioner Garza to the Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Authority. Came from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. The second came from Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? I'm sorry.
Yes.
You wouldn't have given the second, would
No,
you?
no, no, no,
I
no, no,
misspoke. See, we're almost to the end of the meeting.
It's all good. It's all
The
good.
second came from Commissioner Casals, and thank you for that second. Any discussion or debate? Hearing and seeing none, please vote.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Paula. And that is a unanimous vote, and the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, and look forward to continuing to represent you there. And Commissioner Garza, thank you for your service there.
Thank you, you too.
We'll move on to reports of boards, officers, and committees. We have the monthly investment report this evening from Ms. Melanson.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. I'll change hats. So May 31st, we are almost done with yet another year. We started the month with 71 million, ending with 69.6 million. We have several grant reimbursements that are outstanding. General Fund 1 cash balance, 9.4 million. Solid Waste Fund 2, 3.5 million. Wastewater Fund 10, 2.3 million. Fund 66, our water quarter percent, 6.6 million. Our drainage improvements, Fund 88, 2.2 million. And our American Rescue Plan, 9.1 million. And our allocation of funds, we have 44 million in local banks and 25.3 million in our state investment pool. We earned $122,000 of interest this year. We're at an 11-month total of $843,000, and our state pool went from 4.5579 to 4.7983. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that. Good report. Any questions for Ms. Melanson, our Finance Director? Didn't look like it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next, is there a report on the Eastern Plains Council of Governments annual board meeting?
Mayor, I can give that report. I attended the annual meeting in Elida, and the guest speaker, very well attended. The guest speaker for that was James Johnson with Eastern New Mexico University. He's the chancellor and president. He talked to the assembly about how Eastern and communities can support each other. He also stated efforts to attract students to live on campus, which benefits the community. And to meet community needs, the university is expanding its social work programs to include a master's degree program as well as enhancing other programs. And the university is also making some changes to the physical campus to make it more inviting. They did have election of officers for 2023, 2024. They re-elected Roman Garcia, which is chairman. He's the mayor of Vaughn. Vice chair is Cynthia Lee. She's the clerk of the village of San Juan. And the treasurer, Leona Powell, she's the clerk treasurer of the town of Grady. Before joining the meeting, and I believe Ms. Chancey has already mentioned it, they recognized Mary Gray, who has been with EPCOG for the past 13 years on her retirement. It's a very well-attended meeting. It was very enjoyable.
Good. Well, thank you for attending that and bringing that report this evening. Appreciate that.
And I don't know, Ms. Chancey, have you got anything to add? Okay.
You did a good job. Next, I believe we had a commissioner attend a Municipal Officer Leadership Institute training with the Municipal League. Commissioner Bryant, would you want to report about your experience at Molly?
Yeah, this was the second one actually I've been to. I would encourage. This is actually the second one that I've attended, and I would encourage any of the other commissioners that haven't been to the newly elected officials Molly program to go to it. I mean, they go over finances, they go over parliamentary procedures, they go over insurance, they go over different people, different contacts with the municipal league that are very important. And if you'll notice too, down below, there's the New Mexico Municipal League Policy Committee, which is coming up, and I would encourage you to get involved with that as well. There's several of us that sit on those committees. That's basically it. It's really good for camaraderie. You get to learn that we as a city have got it together here in Clovis. There's different forms of government out there because we have villages, we have towns, and they all have struggles. Like their policies and stuff, and to get to talk to them people, it's very, very enlightening.
I know that the Molly sessions are typically focused, you might have, parliamentary procedure or what have you. What sessions did you attend, Commissioner?
I've been through all of them, the parliamentary procedures, the finance, the legal, how to work with your finance department, insurance,
Which sessions were offered at this last Molly?
all that I've mentioned.
Okay. All right. Anything else on that? Very good. We'll move on to a report on the Economic Incentive Board. Looks like EIB met on Wednesday, just yesterday.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Didn't have much of an agenda for that particular board meeting. The City of Clovis were required to provide the financial updates to that board on a quarterly basis, and so the financial update was provided to them. Also, Ms. Juk with CED provided updates on some projects, some manufacturing that's potentially looking to come into our community that they're working with. And then Mr. Malloy continues to work with some of the alternative energy companies that they're trying to recruit into our community. So a relatively short meeting, but that's what we did.
Yeah,
Thank
very,
you.
Very good. Thanks for that. And it's moved to a new time, is that right?
That is correct. We are no longer meeting before the sun comes up. We're going to be meeting at 8:30 for those meetings now.
And see, while I'm not on EIB, there are no elected officials on EIB. I'm very interested in what's happening there, so I usually attend those meetings, but I missed yesterday's because they had moved it to 8:30, and by that point in the day, I'm doing so many other things. It's just, I got lost in my schedule. So
The
sorry
board
about that.
felt passionate about moving it to 8:30.
Yeah, I know. How about the Planning and Zoning Commission, which met yesterday afternoon? Commissioner Garza, have you got the report on that?
Planning and zoning was really busy. We had a lot of items on the agenda. For the first time, we had as many items as we had. We didn't have one for carport. It was a lot of development coming up, so Clovis is getting a lot of housing. So that's pretty much it. It's exciting to see private enterprise moving on those issues, helping the community to provide housing.
That is exciting. We love to see that activity. I wouldn't expect you to have the number unless you happen to talk about it in terms of, how many housing units are planned? Do we know?
No, I don't have an idea.
We'd have to go back and count on each one of the individual plats.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. And also, in the future, I think there's a church being built on the north side of town. So that's going to be another project that is going to come to
Wonderful.
fruition.
It's
We
great.
hope, yes.
It's great to see that activity, and not to assign more work to city staff, but when we talk about housing and the need for housing, if we could somehow or another quantify, what's planned, and have that to sort of think about as we're talking about, our need for housing, in particular, conversation with the base. It might just be interesting to understand what that is at some point. But
Absolutely, Mayor. We can certainly do that. We can go back to the plats, and because they do number the number of lots that are on each one of the individual plats. So that is something that we can go back and establish how many new plats are in and not under construction yet to determine what that number is. So we can work on that.
Great, thanks for that. Lastly, under reports, strategic planning update. Ms. Burrows has provided you, or someone at City Administration has provided each of you with a binder. And Ms. Burrows, I give you the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Yes, you do. We'll have a binder in front of you. The City Commission conducted strategic planning work with Kathy Novak in March 2021, which resulted in the report, which is in the packet that I've given you this evening, which was approved by you in June. 2021. Part of the strategic planning process was to revisit the implementation of the 5 stated goals related to good governance, community life, economic development, safe community, and transportation and infrastructure. So the document before you this evening is a report of the status of those activities and projects identified by the City of Clovis during the strategic planning process and as reported by City Administration and the City of Clovis as department directors. Just going to cover a few highlights, probably going to take about 15 minutes.
I think
Or you
that-
can stop me anytime you like.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate, 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so please feel free to stop and ask any questions as we go through this. So first slide there before you is good governance, and there were 3 key elements there that were raised as a result of that. With regard to the number 1, in regard to sustainably managing the city's financial needs, the City of Clovis is continuing to modernize the way it does business through utilizing the Tyler suite of services. Of course, Tyler 311 has been accomplished, and other areas related to permitting, customer self-serve, utility billing, and some other work with human resources is still in process. With regard to staff training, the following training programs have begun, including annual mandatory training, disciplinary action, employee FMLA active shooter training, hiring manager training, first aid CPR, predetermination, defensive driver, and other trainings. So we've been very busy as Human Resource has in pushing out training opportunities for staff. With regard to enhancing the city communications to the community, we've been branding and promoting the city through the City of Clovis's new brand, which of course you can see there on the screen this evening, which has been implemented, and we've been changing our letterhead and business cards, vehicles, and social media platforms. Everything's now carrying that new brand. And our communications with the community, of course, continue through press releases, social media platforms, including the city's website, which is regularly updated, and Facebook and other social media platforms. And then in 2022, the Commission conducted some neighborhood meetings as well, as you may recall, going out into the community to listen to the community and share information. On the physical side, grant funding status, because we continue to pursue federal, state, and private grant funding opportunities as they come to help address our infrastructure needs. And then with regard to building safety and the physical needs of the housing, of course, they have been very, code enforcement's been particularly proactive in the last couple of years. Code updates are still in process. In 2020, there were 1,063 code cases. In 2021, just over 2,800 code cases, and in 2022, they did over 4,700 code cases. So they really have stepped up their game in the last few years. With regard to number 2, the salary and compensation study implemented in 2022 resulted in 100% level implementation of the salary and compensation plan at a cost of $1.6 million. The compensation study enabled the city to be more marketable and attractive to potential candidates. With the development of the job descriptions, Human Resources, of course, has been working on that to ensure accuracy relating to the needs of a position the City of Clovis is hiring, to retain better employees, which will lead to cross-training and improving succession planning for the community. And then also we stood up, which is another item that you had asked, item G there on page 4, an employee morale committee. This was established, and they've been working. We have a representative of each one of the departments that serves on that committee. Events that they held in 2022 included a summer cookout and games at the park, cookies and cocoa with Santa, door decorating contests, and Christmas party, and so on. So they push out information at the start of every week, sort of doing morale boosting incentives to the employees as they get their week going. So next slide, please. So the next section is regarding community life, recreation, culture, and neighborhoods. That first bullet there 1A on page 5, things to do for people of different in different stages of life. The city created a recreational specialist position to help push programs forward. A senior water aerobic program at the Wellness Center has been started, and youth basketball at Roy Walker was implemented in 2022, along with the summer youth program, which was held for the first time in 2022 and continued with has continued this year through a grant with the Outdoor Equity Grant from the state of New Mexico. Other community events that the city administration has been involved with included the Easter egg hunt. You know, we started with Wings and Wheels in 2021, did it again last year, planning it again for the fall of this year. Boo at the Zoo, Christmas at the Zoo, neighborhood meetings, and we supported various community events, including Dragon Main, the Gearhead Gathering, and Smoke on the Water. So we've been involved with the community in that way. And then for the seniors, with the baby boomers particularly, the senior services have been working on various programs that focus more on fitness, such as Zumba, power walking and stretching, and aquatics classes and so on for the seniors. And then each month also the seniors services attempt to hold pool tournaments and other activities there at the senior center. And then of course the commission have been working with us on the construction of the Hillcrest Senior Life Center out there at Hillcrest Park. So that'll be a real boon to the seniors as we move forward. Number 2 there, developing and maintaining safe and accessible built and natural facilities. Talks about marketing current amenities better. We have a marketing communications position, of course, now in the city to market the amenities that we have, including the new skeet trap and indoor-outdoor archery ranges, the pools, the zoo, the splash park, and other park areas in town. The City of Clovis, of course, has continued to develop the Lyceum Theatre as we've been receiving funding to reopen that facility as a venue for stage performances and movie shows. We received $500,000 in federal grant funding awards, and then anticipating another $500,000 in state grant funding here shortly to be able to hopefully then move forward and complete that project. Over on page 7, the master plan for Ned Huck Park, that was another thing that was identified back in 2021. The status of that is that funding was received for master planning from the state the recreational program, and an RFP was released for that work, and consensus planning received that, and we are now in the process of conducting a survey. So that's being released. There'll be a press release going out in the next few days about that. So so we've been working on that. And then with the library, of course, one of the needs that was identified during your planning, strategic planning process was a transition from the traditional library to the library of the future. The library continues to provide outstanding services at their beautiful city facility, which we're in right now, at 7th and Main. And as far as moving from a traditional library to the future, they continue to provide online content through Libby. I don't know if any of you have the Libby app, and I just want to push that while we're here this evening. If those in the viewing audience doesn't have Libby, please go ahead and download that app. You can read books for free or listen to them for free. The library is part of a 40-member consortium that works on that. The third item there was to provide a balanced diversity of housing options, and Mayor, you were just talking about that a few minutes ago. Of course, the city continues to monitor development in the community, and housing is being constructed in several areas. The City of Clovis continues to work with the Chamber of Commerce's Committee of 50, as well, of course, planning and zoning through the Thrive 5 and Thrive housing to address not only the needs of our community, but the needs of the airmen stationed at Cannon. And then, of course, in 2021, the Commission adopted the Metropolitan Redevelopment Area, and we continue to seek ways. Justin and I were actually the city managers meeting last week, received a presentation by the New Mexico Mortgage Finance Authority about some potential funding for projects that we're exploring to try and find a service provider in the community. Currently, we don't have a service provider in our whole region. So we'd like to find somebody that could help with, so we can apply for some funding, grant funding for weatherization and other rehabilitation programs for housing. And then lastly, in this section was the promotion for the safe, clean, and attractive neighborhoods. Of course, the city must take care of its properties, including the entryways and arterials. The city of Clovis has improved the west entryway to the community at Veterans Park and is seeking opportunities to improve the other entryways. I think that the road improvements that are about to be begin here later on this year on 6084 are really going to help through between Prince going west. The city's focused on aging areas of the city, has been working with, we've been working with Main Street program and on capital outlay funding received to improve the historic railroad district. And then again, building safety, the commission has directed us to be them to be very more proactive in regard to condemning properties and securing properties. And there's some data there for you on page 9 under 4A, number 4, the numbers of condemnations and so on, and the letters that they've sent out. So, and this has gone from 22 complied secured renovations in 2020 to 32 in 2022. So they're doing a great job in moving that forward. I'll just stop for a second and see if you have any questions so far. I know I'm going really fast.
You're doing a great job, and it's a big ask of us to have you give this report, especially at the end of the evening. You're doing a wonderful job, though, Ms. Burrows. Any questions or comments for Ms. Burrows? I appreciate the. Oh, I'm sorry, Mate. Well, I appreciate the. Well, I just appreciate that this is a living document, that we collaborated with you and Mr. Howalt and department directors, and we're working it, and you're reporting on it. So just the nature of that is what I love. But I like much of what you've reported on. Certainly in just the last few moments though about the demolitions. That was an important thing that we got started in just the last few years, and it's making a difference in what our neighborhoods look like, and so I'm excited to see those numbers coming in. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a comment?
No, I didn't.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Very good. But please continue, Ms. Burrows, and I appreciate the report.
Okay, thank you. Can we have the next slide, please? So the next area that you all looked at was economic development, and then there are 4 bullet points in that section. The goal and objectives are to recruit and retain a well-balanced mix of businesses. The City of Clovis contracts with CED to recruit industry and retail to the area, including work in implementing the City of Clovis's economic development plan. Retail recovery is ongoing following COVID. The City of Clovis completed policies and procedures to incentivize retail in the community, utilizing the retail gap analysis provided by Retail Strategies. And of course, you're still in a contract with them just for a few more months. On the next page, on page 12, just a couple of things there I'd like to bring to our attention. And actually, Mayor, you talked about it right at the start of the meeting, which was the expansion of healthcare and the medical specialist needs in the community. That was one of the things that the Commission identified in 2021, and of course you guys have been working hard on that. And then the behavioral health facility, of course we're still moving forward with that. Received $10 million during the legislative session to push that forward. We're working with the consortium with our partners, with Curry, Tobacco Quay, Roosevelt, and Union Counties, Village of Fort Sumner, and Port Alice, and so on. And then another thing, and Mayor, you should be given the thanks for this one, and that was on J there, it says, give young college people a reason to come home. We worked with Workforce Connections, the Clovis Community College, the schools, the City of Albuquerque, and others for that Clovis Hires Young People job fair. The objective was to let young people leaving school know what opportunities were available in the community in an effort to encourage them to remain in the community after graduation, should they so choose. And that really was beneficial. We're going to go ahead and do that again this next year. And then the other piece, and of course, Mr. Howalt had the downtown Clovis Main Street contract this evening. before you, of course, to take advantage of Main Street and continue to grow it. There's been a lot of investment, as you guys were saying earlier on this evening, in the downtown area, and the addition of various restaurants and brew pubs has added to the number of people downtown after hours, which has really been a real boon and a joy for the community. That's the economic development piece. Of course, there's a lot more in there for you to read at your leisure. Any questions before I move on to safe community?
Just a comment on the expansion of healthcare. That is economic development, you know, and so it's appropriate that we have it where it is. And you know, your comment that we've worked hard on that. You know, gosh, there's a team that has worked hard on this. There's the subcommittee of the Committee of 50, which is the Military Affairs Committee. And of course, I'm telling you this, Claire, you know all of this, but for
Mr. Ellis here tonight.
but
He's
for the
the chair
public's,
of that.
yeah, for the public's benefit and for the minutes of this meeting, you know, the subcommittee of the Military Affairs Committee has really done a lot of heavy lifting and work on that. And so it's a team, and such is the case with the Clovis Hires event as well. That was an idea I had. One of the things that I'm most proud of is that I had an idea and people liked it and helped me do it, right? But I love that it's in the report with helping young people see a way to come back after they get their education or stay here and work, because that was one of the focuses of that event and will continue to be, and that is we're helping young people not just find a part-time or temporary job, but helping them see a future for their education and their career right here in our community, because we brought those industry employers in. We didn't just bring the minimum wage part-time employers that just want to hire a teenager. We did both, paint the long-range vision for those young people, as well as help them find immediate employment, which was a benefit to those employers that hired folks, but it's a benefit to us all if young people can see a future in our community. So I just wanted to comment on that, but I'll let you continue.
Thank you, Mayor. So the next slide, please, is safe community, and there's one overarching, of course, piece to all of that, which would provide a visible, responsive, and effective public safety presence, supported by sufficiently trained and equipped resources. And of course, we have three facets to that with regard to the City of Clovis, which of course is emergency management, fire department, and the police department. Just going to touch on a couple of little things here. Of course, emergency management, they've been busy just recently, of course, after the hailstorm of May, but they're constantly ready to deal with any natural disaster that may befall us. As you can see, they are seeking funding for various things that they would like, from things that were identified from 2021, of course, more, outdoor warning sirens, replacing add new outdoor warning sirens, backup generators, and so on, that's listed there. With regard to the fire department, 2022 was a tough year for hiring firefighters and retaining them, but thanks to some new initiatives and collaboration between the fire department and the human resources department, and that's detailed more in this report, they were successful, and I believe currently, Mr. Holwell, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that the fire department is fully staffed.
If she's not correct, don't correct her.
I'm not going to.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
I'll chastise her later.
How's the fire department? Let's hear it.
No, the fire department is actually doing very good. We've taken some different approaches to recruiting, and so I'm not going to jinx us, so I'm not going to say.
Things are going okay. So with regard, one of the things that they pulled out, in 2021 was the new administration building. This project is ongoing. It's on page 15, number 5, Roman numeral 5 there. The fire department continues to struggle with the space at the Station 1 station, and it's a growing department, and the increase of 200 plus emergencies per month, more than previous years. Of course, they're still looking at that. Moving on to the police department, and the police chief is here. He can always pitch in if he needs to. The police department updated their instructors and have sent officers to instructor training to become instructors in general firearms, DUI, and investigations. And in 2022, the police department had some growth within the department to boost their numbers. By doing so, they have been able to promote their employees into levels of supervision and add manpower to investigations in narcotics. They created citizen positions to allow certified police officers to perform law enforcement duties. They've added a swing shift to the investigations so they can have detectives out during the evening to help cover some of the serious crimes and have quicker response to these by having detectives on duty instead of having to call them out. They expanded some of their programs and continuing with others, of course, Coffee with the Cops, Cops and Kids Christmas, and the National Night Out program, which has been very successful. With regard to the animal shelter, one of the things that you identified in 2021 was funding to secure the new animal control facility funding to secure a new facility, and that seems to be going really well. I don't want to jinx that right now, but it looks like we're moving forward with something along those lines, and so we're working closely with various groups to accomplish that. Did you have any questions or comments, or I don't know if anybody else wanted to add anything regarding?
Any additions, Chief? Okay. Very good.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Next slide. So under transportation and infrastructure, there were 4 areas there. First of all, support an efficient regional transportation system. I just want to talk about CATS for a second. That's the first section there on page 17. And the one piece that I would like to pick out, which is G, and was alternative ways to deliver service, i.e. on-call, night service, holiday and special function routes, etc. Since CATS operates a demand response system and doesn't have any scheduled stops in town, once they're fully staffed and able to handle current demand and can hire additional drivers, there are many ways that they could mold this service into something that's more accommodating to today's clientele. Of course, we have a new CATS director, Gary Johnson. Looking forward to continue working with him and the next phase of the life of the CATS department. With regard to design, build, and maintain a traffic network that eases congestion, Clint Bunch advises that Public Works work is ongoing with regard to road maintenance and potholes and so on, and citizen complaints are addressed through phone calls and C-Click Fix, which is of course now 311 or Munis. Complaints are addressed in a timely manner. Residential Paving Fund in 2022 was $600,000 a year, and the road projects are recommended by the Public Works Committee. Of course, Mayor Pro Tem chairs that. With regard to number 3, the expanding and maintaining airport to facilitate regional accessibility, providing appropriate fixed-based operator facilities and service status. The City of Clovis is looking at the creation of a new FBO. If the current terminal is replaced by a new terminal that Mr. Howell and the Civil Aviation Board are working on. Then improved T-hangar status is another one, and as talked about earlier on this evening, the City of Clovis will be seeking funding for additional hangar space out there at CVN. And then number 4 on page 20 relates to providing for the protection, conservation, and efficient use of water to ensure the long-term sustainability of this resource. There's just a few notes there, and Mayor, I'm sure that you could speak more cogently on the subject than I. But from the presentations that I hear you give, the Ute Pipeline project is doing well. We're getting funding in. Didn't know if you wanted to add anything else to that.
No, I won't add to that. Just to echo the sentiment that the pipeline is moving along very well, as well as the water conservation project, which is a separate work, but together they help us achieve water sustainability, and those are moving along well. And I think the commission would say they're getting sufficient updates from me. I hear them groan sometimes in the middle of those updates, but
Eyes rolling. And then, of course, the reuse project, that's been, I think, sort of pretty much completed. There may be a couple of little things left there, but I think we're just about done with that, right, Justin? And then, last slide, please. Oh, that's just a picture. So these are some of the things that have been accomplished in the last couple of years. Of course, the reused water tower. There's that reuse pond out at Colonial Park. And then in the middle is a great picture of the 7th Street construction, which is currently ongoing. And then last slide. So these are specific projects that, that the Commission identified in 2021. And the status of these projects, of course, MLK and the sidewalks, of course, is construction is anticipated to begin this year. The 7th Street, of course, as I just said, that the construction is ongoing there. I don't have a status of the 14th Street and sidewalks. I'm not sure where we are with that. Norris Street has been completed between Putnam and the roundabout. Don't have anything on 21st Street from Wilhite to Prince, but I think it's certainly on our list. And then the other two, install self-serve fueling at the Clovis Regional Airport was something you had asked for in 2021, and I believe that's been that has been indeed accomplished. And then the construction of a new senior centre at Hillcrest Park, we're hoping to, I was in a meeting today, they had some weather delays, but it should be completed by the end of October. And that is my report. Thank you.
That is a great report, Ms. Burrows, and thank you for that. Thank you for putting it together in packet form so that the commission can digest that, and as they have questions or comments, they can be brought up at a later date. Future agenda items. Ms. Burrows or Mr. Howald?
Currently, all I have, Mayor, is the loan adoption ordinance and the sunset ordinance, which was on the last agenda, and the various planning and zoning items that were heard at yesterday's planning and zoning meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings, Parks and Recreation and Beautification Committee will meet at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, June 19th, here in this room. The Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Authority will meet on Thursday, June 22nd. That will be here in the North Annex, as well as the Ingram Room is already occupied that day. New Mexico Municipal League Policy Committee will be at 10 a.m. on Saturday, June 24th in Albuquerque, for those of you serving on policy committees. Public Works will meet at 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, June 28th. City Hall will be closed on Tuesday, July 4th. As I read that, I think, wow, this year is flying by, right? City Hall will be closed for July 4th. Make note of that. The next City Commission meeting will be at 5:15 p.m. on Thursday, July 6th. Anything else for the good of the order? We are adjourned.